We welcome you to the Bay Area tonight, where we bring you a key tussle on the Pacific Coast between a pair of sides looking to climb back into the win column. Oakland Roots host Colorado Springs Switchbacks here from California. We say hello and welcome to Oakland Coliseum, where tonight's warm-ups are brought to you by UCSF Health. Alongside Eric Dobransky, I'm Sam Goldfarb. A pair of squads suffering defeats last time out in league play, and both on different pages in the Western Conference table at the moment. Oakland Roots currently sitting third despite a defeat last week. Meanwhile, Colorado Springs Switchbacks, despite a promising start, now 3 points below the playoff line. Just 2 wins in 9 league matches. Plenty of work to do to climb into the top 8. It's now time for our player to watch, and it is Bertan Jakusan, presented by UCSF Health.
Sam, this is a player that is a dynamic wide presence with direct attacking qualities, possesses a true understanding of the movement and timing, thrives in 1v1 situations, and has the ability to turn space into danger. If the Switchbacks get stretched tonight, watch for Jakusan to be the one asking the tough questions.
On the opposite end of things, Sam Williams is a deep-lying playmaker, leads the team in chances created for the Switchbacks.
And is the epitome of how efficiency translates into effectiveness. He's steady, he's reliable, rarely out of position, brings that balance, composure, and control to midfield. And in a matchup that could be decided in moments of control, expect Sam Williams to be right in the middle of it.
Just about ready to get everything underway in the first of 2 meetings this year between the Roots and the Switchbacks. Oakland looking to solidify themselves amongst the West's best. Colorado Springs hoping to put a 4-match league winless rut behind them. Stick with us, lineups and kickoff when we return from Oakland.
Our need to connect is at the heart of being human. The places and people who make us feel valued, body, mind, and spirit. At Anthem Blue Cross, we know life touches each of us differently, with things we expect and things we don't. We're showing up in ways not expected, helping all of us feel connected to a community of care.
A lot of people don't know this about UCSF, but we have more female sports doctors than anywhere else in the country.
Our Women's Sports Medicine Center is the first clinic in the Bay Area to focus on female patients. We would reconstruct the ACL. Our bodies are different. Our injuries are different.
We are constantly staying up to date on the latest science. And we're all athletes ourselves, so we understand what their goals are.
We love to help athletes get back to doing what they love.
UCSF Health.
We welcome you back to Oakland, where we are just about set for kickoff here. Tonight's USL Championship match is presented by Anthem Blue Cross. Just about set for kickoff in this Western Conference tussle between Oakland Roots and Colorado Springs Switchbacks. It's now time to get a look at our starting lineups, which are brought to you by Anthem Blue Cross. 2 changes, Eric, including one between the sticks.
Yeah, changing goal, Kendall McIntosh gets the start tonight For Oakland, they've developed multiple ways to attack opponents. Peter Wilson continues to provide that finishing quality. Wolfgang Prentice offers that consistent threat with his movement, but Tommy McCabe, Tyler Gibson bring that control and experience that they're going to need in midfield tonight as they navigate that switchbacks press.
On the opposite end of things for Colorado Springs, also 2 changes, a 4-2-3-1 setup. Look out for Saddam Masareka to make noise on the right flank.
And also a team that continues to be one of the most dangerous attacking sides in the league. Corey Bennett comes in tied for the Golden Boot lead with 7 goals, combining electric movement off the ball with his composure on it. Tonight, the guidance and structure provided by Colin Shuttler and the center backs Matusla and Maples will be critical in reinforcing their collective press, but providing that balance in both halves.
It is a side that is looking for improved balance. They are one of the best goal-scoring outfits in the league, but also conceding 17 goals. That ranks in the bottom 10 of the division. That is a point of frustration for head coach Alan McCann. Just about ready to get everything underway from Oakland Coliseum. Oakland Roots in their classic home white strips with the black numbers from left to right on your screen. The Switchbacks in the black numbers with the black kits, with the beige-ish numbers from right to left. And we just await our referee, Elton Garcia's signal to get everything underway. And that we are. An Oakland side that sits inside the top 3, but just 1 win in the last 5 across all comps. They take on a Switchback squad desperate to climb back into the playoff places out west. Sam Goldfarb, Eric Dobransky on hand. This should be a fun one, should be end-to-end as well.
It should be, because both these teams know what they want to look like in their identity and how explosive they want to be in the final third. Now it's about putting their off-the-ball work to the test tonight. 2 good attacking teams. Can you win some of the big, loud moments that minimize some of the threat that each side present? And you mentioned for Colorado Springs Switchbacks, goals for 17, which is tied for the 4th most, but then also top 5 in goals against. So when you see that, you feel like the off-the-ball structure and discipline can continue to grow and identify itself as this season wears on and progresses.
Rocha somewhat carelessly gives it away there. Just lapses in concentration at the back that have cost them. Alan McCann was really frustrated, said he feels like he's become a broken record because it's just small moments where they lack execution, both going forward, but especially defensively of late. When talking to him last week about the Las Vegas Lights defeat, that's a match where they were dominant. Analytically, it matched their Prince Cup victory, the 4-0 triumph over New Mexico the previous week, but it just felt like there wasn't enough execution in both boxes, and they were caught out twice, and it was a major point of frustration heading into this week.
Well, it's fascinating because preseason for the Colorado Springs Switchbacks saw a lot of success on the defensive side. And then you look at their performances in cup play, Prince Tires Cup, 2 clean sheets, and US Open Cup, they picked up a clean sheet against Sporting KC. So their ability to fine-tune and be detailed in those moments, as we see another turnover in the build, is there. They just have to find it for 90 minutes.
2 minutes in, and I think Alan McCann will be quite disgusted with what he's seen playing out the bag. Maybe some early jitters that they just have to iron out, as there's a throw here for Oakland. Tingy. Gibson, the longtime USL Championship veteran. It's escorted wide now. Prentice arcing it in beyond the reach of Peter Wilson. It's collected comfortably by Colin Shuttler. It's been a major point of debate in the Colorado Springs dressing room about who the go-to goalkeeper should be, at least amongst the fans. Colin Shuttler's gotten the nod, according to Alan McCann, over Christian Herrera, the longtime starter. And in the preseason, it was pretty eyebrow-raising when they signed Shuttler, but Alan McCann says he likes his ability to play out of the back with his feet.
Yeah, that passing range, that elite ability to complement that range with the decision-making is something that separates Colin Shuttler, and we see that consistency, but now it's about guiding this team defensively. This is a team that's still yet to pick up a clean sheet in the regular season. I mentioned the 3 in cup play. Good outlet here.
Yes, an adventurous run forward. Space for Hanya to operate. He is always dangerous when he touches it.
And you accompany that search for clean sheets with the ability to go pick up 3 points on the road, which is something the Switchbacks have yet to do.
Here is Hanya, first time cross that is well beyond the reach of Corey Bennett. Quite the goal-scoring threat. There's a conversation about many of those coming from pens, but you can't fault him for being efficient. Tusala. Creek. Sprays it wide to Hanya. Has options going forward as well. It's a cross into Bennett, and he picks out the back of the net. Well, that one's out of open play, and it's 1-0 to the Switchbacks.
And I know that we are only 5 minutes in, but we have seen hints of this from the Switchbacks, their ability to connect some of these intermediate passes, 1, 2, 3 passes that get Oakland compact, get them in close proximity, and then they spray this ball out wide. And Yosuke Hanya's ability to drive 1v1, identify where his teammate is, and what a clever finish.
Spectacular from Corey Bennett, his 8th of the year, and in some style.
Well, he just heard you talking about PK finishes out of all of his goals. Said he could score one in the run of play and be in front of the box. And that's something that we saw, that explosive nature in the goal-scoring department with his time in Las Vegas Lights. I mean, we've seen his ability to hunt spaces inside and around the 6-yard box. But an underrated part of his game is how crafty he can be in those moments.
And now there's space in behind. Masareka is through, and it's a heavy touch that takes it back to McIntosh. They've been let off the hook there, Oakland.
What a start for the Switchbacks right now, and the variety in which that they're playing with, and the passing that they've exuded thus far. I know it's early, but still we've seen the purpose behind what they're doing and how they're trying to access some of the space higher up the field.
Corey Bennett moments ago was 8th of the year, 3rd out of open play this season. Someone who's a veteran in USL Championship, made a name for himself in League One with Charlotte Independence for 2 years. And then you mentioned that breakout 15-goal campaign with Las Vegas Lights 2 years ago. Last season, spent part of his time in the Saudi League before returning to the States with Sacramento, and now reuniting with Alan McCann, who was his coach in the USL League Two ranks back in the day with Reading United. So the ties run deep, and he has proven to be a valuable investment for Colorado Springs. Now 8 of their 18 league goals on the season.
Yeah, we see it with so many teams, so many coaches. Familiarity is key. I mean, Alan McCann has been a part of this staff before becoming the head coach here, but then you bring in a player like Corey Bennett.
Space the other direction. The ball from Prentice was just shy of its mark. But here he is again. Pressured wide. An early cross in. Elevates both Wilson and Batash.
And for the Oakland side, all eyes go to Peter Wilson, the 6 goals in all competitions. But Wolfgang Prentice continues to stack performances, 5 goals, 4 assists in all comps. Just capable in his role to not only go at defenders, but to be elusive and subtle with those movements in and around the 18-yard box that Oakland really values in the final third. And we've seen it from the adaptability and the flexibility that they've presented attacking opponents.
And there's Prentice, who gives it away. Sprayed wide once again to Hanya, who's had plenty of enjoyment early on. McGee pings it towards Masareka. Jacobson looking to run it out of trouble, but right now, Oakland can't enjoy any sustained possession at the moment. Rocha. Hanya. Batash. Passes are uncharacteristically loose from Oakland so far.
That's sometimes just the underarching presence of pressure, because sometimes when you think that that pressure is going to naturally come when you're playing a team that is so energetic with the way that they press that first ball, but they reinforce it with the other lines, it kind of forces you into a frenetic pace, and we've seen some miscues, some missed passes, and that's for Oakland, and they're going to want to tidy that up, because transition's going to be an opportunity for them to kind of balance this matchup. And Ryan Martin, the frustration is going to be conceding this early. They did it last week against Orange County, conceding in the 8th minute. It is so tough to get into rhythm and play to your identity when you are playing from behind. They found the equalizer against Orange County, but then conceded early in the second half to go down again.
Talking to him this week, he mentioned how he felt that that was one of their most dominant performances all year, but had to overcome 2 separate 1-goal deficits, and he said 3 silly errors cost us a result away from home. Thought he made a few errors that you'd think he might be somewhat displeased with, and already trailing on the score sheet. Here's Batash, who hooks this forward, draws an awkward stop out of Colin Shuttler.
For the Oakland Roots, you don't find yourself as one of the top scoring offenses if you're not versatile and you're not have the characteristics of being able to adapt to what the game is demanding from you, and that's what they've done throughout the season. So although you do feel like the Switchbacks are playing at the tempo they want to see, they're really setting the tone for a lot of these early interactions, the Oakland Roots have been tremendous in their ability to grow into matches, find those spaces. Games take things away from you, but they also present different areas as well.
This is Masureka. Presents plenty of danger for the Oakland back line. Creek. Burner. Hanya. Arcing ball. Just tapped for a throw. Does feel like, at least early on, the Roots having trouble getting out of first gear.
And it starts with connecting that very first pass. You see some of the passes, it's led into space, which is fine, but it doesn't give you the ability to get yourself on the ball and then dictate the next play. Sam Williams on this throw does present a long throw, so see the bodies and the layers in the box. Can you make first contact? Can you dictate those second and third actions?
Anything like some old school's 90s football. It's arced into the mix. As far as McGee. Roach out. McGee again in that pocket. Pulled away by Hackshaw. It's been an up and down start to the year for Alan McCann, no doubt. As mentioned, he's very optimistic about the potential of this side. So much talent across the board, returning a good chunk of the players that finished 8th in the West a year ago, but also bringing in some key pieces that maybe they lacked last year. The return of a Speedy Williams, who's finally on the bench now and able to feature, not to mention Tyreek McGee, who's now started the last 3 in all comps. There's real potential for this side to blossom if they can piece it all together. It is just about, though, staying switched on in those key moments. Mentioned how it was rinse and repeat last week. Key lapses that cost them so far tonight. Feels like they've opened sharp and have been attentive to detail.
You mentioned it right now. The start has been electric for the Colorado Springs Switchbacks. And I don't want to fast forward into the second half, but that's where they start to drift, and that's going to be where they want to collectively find themselves. Out of their 17 goals conceded, 12 of those are in the second half. So these first half starts have not necessarily been the theme and the trend that they're looking at, although if they can go and press and find a second goal, they'll feel that they have definitely taken full control over the tempo and the tenor of this game.
And you mentioned that stat, 12 of the 17 allowed in the second half. 7 of those 12 conceded in the final 15 minutes of matches. So that goes a long way to explaining why they haven't been able to turn some of the draws into victories or defeats into draws at least.
No, and that's the great point right there, because we saw the standings in the West. The West is just so unrelenting. I mean, if you're unable to turn draws into 3 points, you find yourself kind of battling yourself into positioning.
Team plays this across, bashed out of danger before it can reach Wolfgang Prentice. Speaking of players in flying form,
this is one way you can get yourself back in the matches. Some of these gritty performances, some of these gritty plays here, just getting yourself back on the ball, battling defensively in those higher spaces.
Here's De Vicente.
Not sure what he was looking for there. I mean, De Vicente is a player that has been so good and so solid going forward. 3 assists on the season in all competitions. Finds himself in the final third and finds a lot of quality in those services, but concedes a throw in here in possession, and now you get Sam Williams back on the ball with the long throw if he wants.
They basically have seeded a makeshift set piece. It'll be Rocha to take it. Quarter of an hour gone here at Oakland Coliseum, and as things stand, 1-0 to Colorado Springs. They've stormed out of the gates with a Corey Bennett 5th-minute opener, and since then, Colorado Springs on the front foot. Oakland has yet to truly establish itself in this one. We'll see if Batosh can change that here. Plays it forward adventurously, but can't slip Prentice in. Another space for Hanya to roam. Shaw neutralizes it.
And I know that play ends up being incomplete and picked off, but that is what the Oakland Roots need to start hinting at in possession, is that ability to stretch the line, that ability to open up space and vacate some defenders for the Switchbacks, and that should start to open up some of the midfield play.
It's hoofed forward. Well, fans, this is the town season, and the 2026 Oakland Roots and Soul jerseys are here. Same heart, same city, one built from myth, one built from within. 2 clubs, 1 Oakland. Get yours now at shop.oaklandrootssc.com or any Roots or Soul home game. Oakland still looking to apply some pressure to this Colorado Springs back line. Jacqueson cuts it towards Prentice, just in front of him that time. Starting to see Wolfgang Prentice pop up in some dangerous spots, though, and that's the name of the game for Oakland at this point.
He is a wide player that does not only occupy wide spaces. He'll work in the half space, he'll work central. He'll find a lot of different interchanges, a lot of different ways to ask the challenging questions. And he's typically that player that finds his way into a match.
Has already matched his goal tally in league play from a season ago. 5 goals, 4 assists, tied for the league lead in assists as well. Couple that with the emergence of Peter Wilson the last 4 games. 6 goals in that span, and you're starting to see what Oakland can become at full strength going forward. Goals have never been the problem. It's been keeping them out that has been inconsistent. That's why we promised you goals at the start. Neither of these teams necessarily known for their clean sheet prowess.
Yeah, Oakland only with the 1 this season.
This is wide to Hanya. McGee. It's past 1. Creek on for Tyreek McGee. Hanya. Burner. Spaced across. Back for Hanya, who floats it into Bennett. Not dealt with just yet. Burner again. De Vicente tracks him step for step. It is unrelenting early on here from Colorado Springs, though. It is a squad that ranks just below Oakland in the USL Championship table for average possession, a little north of 52% of the ball. Had 55% last week. Outshot their opponents as well in Vegas by a 19-10 margin, but put only 2 of those on frame. It was efficiency in the boxes that eluded them a week ago. Been quite efficient to start, and Masareka looking to compound that. Just drags it wide. Perhaps you could have hoped for a better final product there.
Yeah, you just need that final moment of quality and composure. You get it on the touch right there that unlocks the space going forward, but just unable to wrap this ball around. McIntosh find that far side netting. McIntosh doing a good job of making sure he's got that near post covered. Kind of adding to the numbers that you had just alluded to for the Switchbacks. They're also the top team in possession won in the final third per match. That just showcases that unrelenting pressure that they put on it, and sometimes that does skew the possession numbers, because when you do win possession at that clip higher up the field, naturally it's just going to be faster. There's going to be moments where you do reset, you do recirculate, but a lot of the times you're applying pressure so that you can shorten the field, you can get closer to frame, so you're going to play quick.
And Ryan Martin mentioned how they might have to tweak the game model to accommodate for that. He says his side is built around pulling players out of position and trying to exploit the space in behind. And sometimes they're able to do that as the protagonist, the side that bosses possession. But he understood that that press may limit the amount of time they're able to settle on it and play through the lines. It may force them to play more vertically, as you see here. They look for Prentice. Ultimately, Talon Maples wins that foot race by a comfortable margin. At the moment, though, you just have to wonder how Oakland will start to exploit some gaps in this press when they emerge. McGee. Creek. Hanya. Burner was offside, so we had to let it run. Fans turn to the CBS Sports Network on Wednesday, June 10th for a USL Eastern Conference Championship clash under the lights. Tampa Bay Rowdies defend their home turf against battle-tested Charleston Battery at 7 p.m. Eastern. Catch all of the action on the CBS Sports Network June 10th. Tom Casciato's men on national television quite a bit lately, aren't they? And for good reason. They are tremendous.
I was going to say, still unbeaten. Playing Lou City tonight. That game's currently at 0-0. Talk about the defensive side. I know this has to do with the East, but Lou City, a team that we're typical of seeing strong defensive performances, and that's a team that is looking to bounce back after a tough 4-3 loss at Miami FC.
Seen more ups and downs with them this year than years past. I mean, it's hard to top losing only one regular season match from the previous season. Maybe a few more growing pains than you'd be accustomed to from a Lou City squad. Here's Williams. Midway through this first half, and Colorado Springs remain in full control. 1-0 courtesy of Corey Bennett's 5th-minute opener, and since then have continued to press on. Still have yet to see Oakland's first real chance of note.
I think there's two pieces to it. I mean, you mentioned it, the verticality. You have to open this game up with being direct in times. But as you do that, can you add that piece of predictability for your own side in the moments where you're going to go vertical, but that also allows the other lines to climb? Good ball in here.
This is Jacquesin, who's emerged with goal contributions in 3 of his last 4 league matches to date. He slipped in behind again. Just takes a loose touch, though. It is important to note, too, it is still year 1 for Ryan Martin, and I think a lot of fans seeing Ryan Martin get announced would immediately expect, hey, top of the West contention for sure, because of what he did at Loudoun, bringing a side with, you know, budget constraints and things of that nature to the playoffs for the first time ever last year. But it's important to note as well that he is still building up a new squad, has worked in a number of players from his Loudoun days, also determining which players to bring back and trying to mesh all of that. He said to us, it's important to maintain perspective. If you told me we would have lost only 2 of our first 10 league matches, I would have taken that every day of the week at the start of the season. And they do still sit top 3 in the West. So despite maybe an up and down patch, this is still a squad that you would expect, once it all comes together, to contend for a top seed in the Western Conference. As Hanya progresses this forward. Williams can't find him on the return ball. Wilson ran into the clattering challenge.
For both these teams, we've seen, when you look at the regular season, they both have the 4 draws, so it's converting those draws into 3 points. And you mentioned the 2 losses out of 10 for Oakland Roots, both those against Orange County. So you've lost both matches to the same team. So overall, you've got 8 matches where you've got results, and you are right in the thick of it in the Western Conference.
Those Orange County matches have always presented unique subplots. 3-2 last week, despite Oakland being on the front foot. Not to mention the whole Rafa Spiegel red card controversy the first time they met. One of the more bizarre red cards you'll see in the league this year for sure. Appears the referee got in the way there.
Yeah, last week's matchup, 20 shots, 5 on target for the Oakland Roots against Orange County. So overall, the volume in and around the box was there, but now they were just missing that efficiency, missing that quality final action.
There's Tyreek McGee, who's made a nuisance of himself early on. Creek, tracked down by McCabe, who's the magic eraser in midfield, and Oakland wins a set piece.
You just see how purposeful they are about getting that man right there, Hanya, involved, heavy along the right side, but you see the shape and the angles that they present. Tyreek McGee can float into that wide space. SK Hanya can sit.
Picked out Peter Wilson here, who is onside. Prentice cuts it back to Faisal Batash. Just wide, but that's the first real chance of note for the Roots.
And that goes back to the predictability part that I was talking about just a few moments ago. When you're going to go direct, your team has to be able to read those cues, pick up those cues, because it allows the lines to climb, and then that proximity becomes manageable, because you can't just be vertical and be 1v3, 1v2, and just hope that your attacking player can get on the ball and create something. You've got to put yourself in a situation where your teammates and the players around him are available to make a play. We've seen that in the last few moments from the Oakland Roots.
It is important to note that Oakland is experienced playing from behind this month. The draw at Loudoun had to overcome multiple 1-goal deficits, including one at the death, not to mention coming from behind to beat El Paso, and even last week erased 2 separate 1-goal deficits. So this squad is not in unfamiliar territory, but they just have yet to really insert themselves into this fixture. As Hanya commits the transgression on the far side.
They've also conceded 5 goals in the first 15 minutes of first halves, which is more than any team in the USL Championship. So you love the character that you show when you can get yourself back in matches, because that is so valuable when you hit that later stretch of the season where you're going to face those challenges week in, week out, and have to grind out results. But you also don't want to keep putting yourself behind.
Fans watch the USL Championship in Spanish on 2DN, the nation's leading Spanish language sports network. Go to uslchampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings. Interestingly enough, the goal from Corey Bennett, as things stand, is being listed as a Michael Edwards own goal. So that is something that will have to be debated in the league office, at least at halftime and beyond. I'm sure Bennett will be quick to claim it.
Yeah, that would be quite harsh on Edwards, because that touch from Corey Bennett looked like it was clearly going on frame if it took the slightest touches off Edwards. But now Oakland Roots having to deal with this service, and as you look at these final 15 minutes for the Oakland Roots, you want to find that balance between opening up and being very aggressive to find the equalizer before the break, but also making sure that you're tidy in and around your own defensive box.
It's driven in by McGee. It's not the finest of deliveries by any means. I'm just looking for an avenue out, and there is none. So a half hour gone, and it is still just the 1 goal for the Switchbacks. They have remained on the front foot since. The question is how Oakland will shift the tide. Maybe some holes in the press starting to emerge now as tired legs set in. Starting to play more with his feet. This is an area he's a little more comfortable than Rafa Spiegel. It is an interesting goalkeeping battle in Oakland, because it seemed settled that Spiegel would be the #1, but today McIntosh gets the start, so we'll see how that changes the trajectory of things as the year unfolds. Still plenty of months of football left to be played in the USL Championship. Batage. McCabe. Metronome in midfield from Loudon under Ryan Martin's tutelage, and now in Oakland. Vicente's ball forward, broken up. He's rewarded for his tenacity, though. Tingy. McCabe. Vicente again. Prentice hooks it goalward. Good only as far as McCabe. And this the longest spell of prolonged possession for Oakland to date. Jacqueson. Always a danger on this near side. Bodies him off it.
And you're gonna like the spell of possession, but unfortunately for Oakland Roots, it just didn't produce anything going into the 18-yard box right now for both these sides. For the Oakland Roots, 30 final third entries, but only 1 of those have equated to a touch in the opposition box, whereas for Colorado Springs Switchbacks, 27 final third entries, 10 of those have found themselves on the ball in the Oakland Roots box. So the variety of the movement, as we see Switchbacks player Still down.
Appears to be Tyreek McGee, who has enjoyed a strong start to this first half. He's a player that Alan McCann just brought back into the fold. Signed him in mid-April after a year in the Jamaican Premier League. He's someone that in years past has impressed in Colorado Springs colors, and tonight no different.
He's a part of that 2024 championship team.
Fans, this injury timeout is brought to you by Anthem Blue Cross. Anthem is transforming healthcare by improving the health of our local communities. Tyreek McGee gingerly walking off the pitch for Colorado Springs. You mentioned that 2024 title team. What a year that was for the Switchbacks, hosting the final at Widener Field and obliterating Rhode Island FC in that final. Last season, a few more ups and downs throughout the campaign. Had to creep into the playoffs towards the end of the campaign as the 8th and final team in, and they did give Tulsa quite the fight. Fell in extra time. This season, the aim is to go well beyond that, put themselves back in the title conversation. So far to open the season, hasn't necessarily gone according to plan, but through 35 minutes tonight, they look like the side that fits the part of one that could contend down the line. It is a long season, plenty of time for them to string results together and perhaps enter the home playoff match debate if all breaks right. It's just 3 points that separate them from the playoff cut line as things currently stand.
And you've got to believe that both these teams, from the optimistic standpoint, is you're scoring the goals. I mean, you are efficient, you're electric and dynamic in what you're doing in the attacking half. But defensively, if you can just clean up some of these lapses, if you can stay switched on, but that would also add to some of the frustration that both these sides have got to feel, because off the ball, you don't want to take it away from what you do attacking-wise.
Tosh, Shakusin. Soreka doing his defensive duties wonderfully. Gotta love a winger that's willing to track back and defend.
You love it when it's on your team and you're not in favor when you're playing against a winger that is willing to do that.
Bertrand Jacquesson and Wolfgang Prentice largely frustrated through the opening 35 and change. How can Oakland get them isolated more as this wears on?
I think as this first half is worn on, the proximity and the distances in which they can connect and link up with their teammates, that is starting to come to fruition right now. We see a lot of times where Jacquesson is on the ball, faced up, going to goal. And then he finds himself in a position where he can connect and he can link up with a teammate just like this.
Manages to bypass Masureka, but too many black shirts in the vicinity.
And it's just those moments that you're going to want to recreate at a higher volume and get him involved. I think the other piece to it for the Switchbacks is they've really minimized Peter Wilson's involvement in this game. I mean, his role right now, thus far, Peter Wilson, is to stretch the field. And can you then get Batosh? We've seen him on top of the 18-yard box on the ball. Seen Tommy McCabe start to find himself on the ball in the final third.
Just 3 touches so far from Peter Wilson the entire game. Has only played 1 pass. So it has been an isolated effort thus far. We'll see if they can change that, though. Prentice slipped in. Too much weight on the ball forward, though. If he's able to pick that up, there's a number of bodies to pick out in the area. His willingness to run in behind is something that Ryan Martin raves about. It's not just out wide trying to slip in and whip in crosses, but in the channels as well. And Ryan Martin feels that's what's contributed to a lot of his heightened goal output this year. Somebody who a few years back was being loaned out to League One regularly with Ford Madison and starting to make a name for himself there. The last 2 seasons has really come on and been an integral part of this Oakland 11. Still in his 20s, get the sense there's plenty of room for growth with the Roots and potentially beyond. Roach is under pressure here. McCabe nearly snatched it right back. Jacqueline does. McCabe, sliding tackle from Williams does the job. 5 minutes from halftime, and you get the sense that the Switchbacks are starting to take the sting out of things. Creek. McGee. Hanya. Shaw intercepts, and this is Prentice.
And as we approach that halftime whistle for the Switchbacks, it's all about winning second and third actions just like this, putting yourself in a position where, yes, the Oakland Roots are going to continue to ask questions of the spacing behind, which will then, what they're hoping is access space in front of that back line. And that's where those second and third phases become so vital into securing some of those big defensive plays.
They're at least starting to ask questions, and you didn't get the sense they were doing that the opening 20 minutes or so. Some slight semblances of incision now. But it is about increasing that efficiency between final third entries and box touches, isn't it? Chance here. De Vicente. Flashed across. It's a long-range effort. That does not miss by much. That Oakland's best chance to date, and it comes from Tommy McCabe.
And case in point, that is winning the space in those multiple phases, because that direct ball doesn't initially fall to the Oakland Roots. It's those plays afterwards that then you find the opportunity to go to goal.
Fans, Oakland Roots are back at the Oakland Coliseum on Saturday, June 13th at 7 p.m. versus Miami FC for Gila Juneteenth night. Single game tickets are still available. Visit oaklandrootssc.com/tickets or call 510-488-1144 as there's a chance brewing. Masoreka dispossessed at the last. Anyway, you can call that number and lock in your tickets today. B. Williams to take the corner now. This is Colorado Springs' first of the night. In fact, it's the first corner kick either way. Well beyond 40 minutes now.
And I think if you look at the attacking area for the Switchbacks, that's going to be where they want to see an increase in quality, is how they get beyond that 12 yards and in.
It's an in-swinging ball from Williams. Right away at the near post. McGee tracks it down for the Switchbacks. It's underhit. And it's been the story of pretty much every set piece cross delivery from Colorado Springs since the opener. No space to play out. De Vicente. Wilson was offside. And a promising attack cut off at the source. I don't think the fans were too pleased with that decision from the linesman.
Just a step too early for Peter Wilson. But you have to like the idea. I mean, you're going to force this back line to be on edge every moment that a ball gets clipped over. And I know it's frustrating to have an offside call, but it just shows that ability to then open up and go at this Colorado Springs switchback side. And for this back line, they're going to have to continue to make sure they're tight on their marks, they're collective in their movement.
Do you get the sense there's been a slight drop-off from Colorado the last 10 minutes or so?
I think there's been maybe not a drop-off, but an approach where they want to find the ability to go find that second goal, but also don't concede before the break. And especially with a team that has conceded at the rate that they have, it's so important that you go earn that second goal, but it is so important that you go into the break with zeros on the board for the opponent.
It was crafty from Prentice. De Vicente gets it right into the path of Creek. 3 minutes of stoppage time separate us from intermission.
And that's another moment right there that the switchbacks are going to look at, that they are winning. That moment where they get broken, but they get themselves back in a position. And that's going to be what they're going to want to highlight at the break, is those areas in which the decision-making is quality defensively. And then for the Oakland Roots, they're going to look at their ability to get the lines together and higher up the field. And play like this is quality.
Starting to see some more comfort from Oakland. Match of ebbs and flows so far, momentum-wise. Hanya. Fans Select is proud to be the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship. From the grassroots to the pros, Select is there every step of the way. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select product specials and more. Select, the player's choice. Midway through the added 3 minutes of stoppage time, the 5th-minute opener from Colorado Springs still makes the difference. As of now, listed as a Michael Edwards' own goal, although Corey Bennett may feel differently. It appears there will be one final set piece before the first half is done. Tyrick McGee strolling to the corner flag.
He's underhit a couple of his deliveries, so you're going to want to make sure that this can reach that far post.
In swing, headed across, scoot awkwardly off of McCabe's head. Ultimately comes to just a long throw. This is likely one of the final sojourns forward you'll see in this first half. One more crack at it for Sam Williams. Rocha sprays it in. Made away for one more corner. He's the type of player where you don't always see his impact, but his imprints are all over the field.
100%. It's not something that it kind of springs out to you on the stat sheet, but his work rate and his influence in both boxes is felt.
Takes this corner short and gets it back from McGee. Drove it goalward. It's not the finest of efforts, though. And that takes us to halftime. Well, Eric, a fast start from Colorado Springs, but since then you're starting to see signs of life from Oakland.
And I think both these coaches are going to feel good about their team's performance thus far, especially towards the end of this first half. Alan McCann's group, their ability to put pressure on that first ball and then win second and third actions. But the proximity for the Oakland Roots and Ryan Martin's side has improved in that first half, and they're going to want to see that in the second.
It is the 5th-minute opener via an own goal that makes the difference between Oakland Roots and Colorado Springs Switchbacks. The visitors hold a narrow 1-0 cushion after 45 minutes of play. Stick with us when we return. A look around USL Championship.
You've earned this, so hold it up high. You might not be related, but you're still family. You don't just give an extra hand. You give your whole heart and a whole lot of muscle. Because it feels good to raise up the community that raised you. You are a fighter, and this is your reward. Modelo, the mark of a fighter.
Sana, sana. Sana, sana, colita de rana.
Sana, sana, colita de rana. Si no sana soy.
Sanará mañana.
Learn about low to no-cost health insurance with Anthem Blue Cross. So you and your family can sana sana.
A lot of people don't know this about UCSF, but we have more female sports doctors than anywhere else in the country.
Our Women's Sports Medicine Center is the first clinic in the Bay Area to focus on female patients. We would reconstruct the ACL. Our bodies are different. Our injuries are different.
We are constantly staying up to date on the latest science. And we're all athletes ourselves, so we understand what their goals are.
We love to help athletes get back to doing what they love.
UCSF Health.
We welcome you back to Oakland Coliseum. We're at halftime in this Western Conference USL Championship battle. The Colorado Springs Switchbacks hold a narrow 1-0 advantage over Oakland Roots. Well, it is that time of year, the World Cup right around the corner, and 3 USL Championship clubs are hosting teams that are participating. Take a look at this feature for more information.
Before the World Cup can begin, 48 national teams need a home. And home is a lot more than a practice field.
They wanted a beautiful grass field and in a sort of secure facility with great access to gyms and all the other pieces around.
Dan Rutstein had the honor of handing the keys to Orange County SC's entire facility to the U.S. men's national team. Why does it matter to you to have the U.S. national team at your facility?
Look, if you can't get excited about a World Cup, then we shouldn't be in this business. It's obviously an enormous opportunity. We're happy for them, it's a great facility. We're happy for us, we're happy for our fans, so we can be talked about in the same breath as the home nation in a home World Cup.
Orange County is joined by the Oakland Roots, who will host the Australian national team, and the Tampa Bay Rowdies hosting first-time World Cup team Cape Verde. When clubs spend multiple weeks in one building, the facility must accommodate an entire support system, not just the players. In a large country like the United States, travel can take a toll. Cape Verde's Tampa home sets up short flights to Atlanta, Miami, and Houston for its group matches. Australia will play matches in Vancouver, Seattle, and nearby Santa Clara. The U.S. team's longest journey is Seattle, sandwiched between 2 group matches in Los Angeles. But as the World Cup takes place, it's business as usual for the USL Championship. For Orange County, a worthwhile temporary adjustment.
We're still training next door. The short-term pain of being not allowed to use our stadium for the medium and long-term gain of working with the US national team, we could never say no to an opportunity like that.
Sometimes the waves are calling your name. Other times, you think the waves are calling your name, but actually, it's the kids.
This summer, get 1,000 bonus points and a chance to win 250,000 bonus points.
Pain doesn't care who you are or why you hurt, but pain can be mastered if you know the way. Fight back with Tiger Balm's legendary herbal power. Trusted for over 100 years, our proven blend of camphor, menthol, and essential oils tames pain with the strength and speed of the tiger, so that you can rise above pain and get back to living. This is the way of the tiger.
We all have goals. But let's be honest, most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
You've earned this, so hold it up high. You put on the biggest event of the year every single weekend, surviving the strongest storms, meeting chaos with composure. You roll up your sleeves to roll out the red carpet, because the end of the night for you is the beginning of the rest of their lives. You are a fighter, and this is your reward. Modelo, the mark of a fighter.
Week 13 of championship play is upon us. Alex Crognale, center back from San Antonio FC, joins us to talk their incredible start and why they deserve to be the #1 team in the Western Conference. What's gone wrong in Louisville? What's going right for the Tampa Bay Rowdies? 10 games unbeaten to start the year. And what is the best game on the docket this weekend? Stick around. This is USL All Access.
We welcome you back to Oakland Coliseum, where at halftime the fans out in full force, but hoping for an improved second half display from their Oakland roots. Here at halftime, we continue our look around the USL Championship with our news and notes. Dan Lucas has more information.
The first half is in the books in the USL Championship. We hope you're enjoying the match so far. I'm Dan Lucas inside the USL studio with the headlines for the week. FC Tulsa goalkeeper Alex Tembakis collected his 60th career shutout in a big 2-0 win over Hartford Athletic. That's 3 straight wins and 4 unbeaten for the Scissortails as they climb to 4th in the Western Conference standings. Monterey Bay earned its first league victory of the season with a pair of second-half goals and a 2-0 win over Birmingham Legion. The club sits 8 points below the playoff line heading into the weekend. And Orange County opened its temporary home stadium with a 3-2 win over the Oakland Roots. It was an exciting night for the club as it packed a record 7,651 fans into Santa Ana Stadium, Orange County's home field, while the U.S. national team trains at Championship Soccer Stadium for the World Cup. Speaking of the World Cup, congratulations to 2 more USL players, Eloy Roam and Jurgen Locadia, both from Miami FC, getting called up by Curacao. Locadia just completed a hat trick in a win over Louisville City. League One and the USL Championship have loaded the month of June with national spotlight broadcasts. CBS Sports Network will feature the Tampa Bay Rowdies and Charleston Battery and Las Vegas Lights against Orange County. ESPN2 will feature forward Madison against Fort Wayne. This is the USL Halftime Update. Let's get you back to your match.
Time to get a look at our scores throughout the day in USL Championship. How about this? Tampa Bay Rowdies defeating Louisville at Lynn Family Stadium. The unbeaten run continues for Dom Casciato's men.
Yeah, 2 goals for the Tampa Bay Rowdies within those last 15 minutes of the match. So gut-wrenching for Lou City, and then Miami coming off of that big win against Lou City, go on the road to Pittsburgh and suffered defeat and 2-0 and some big Western Conference matchups here later tonight.
The 9 p.m. match between El Paso and Lexington starting momentarily, and then as you head throughout the evening, the late kickoff, Phoenix Rising in Sacramento. That should be an intriguing one.
It will be, and for Phoenix Rising, in good form, looking for a big result against Sacramento. And then tomorrow, Sporting Jacks, that exciting match against San Antonio, that 4-4 draw, having that 3-goal lead, conceding 3 goals, and then finding a late equalizer.
Pure chaos in the USL Championship. We're hoping that we'll get pure chaos to conclude this one. 1-0 at halftime. Colorado Springs the narrow advantage as things currently stand. We will step aside when we return and look back at the first half that just transpired.
A lot of people don't know this about UCSF, but we have more female sports doctors than anywhere else in the country.
Our Women's Sports Medicine Center is the first clinic in the Bay Area to focus on female patients. We would reconstruct the ACL. Our bodies are different. Our injuries are different.
We are constantly staying up to date on the latest science. And we're all athletes ourselves, so we understand what their goals are.
We love to help athletes get back to doing what they love.
UCSF Health.
Sana, sana. Sana, sana, colita de rana.
Sana, sana, colita de rana. Si no sanas hoy,
Sanará mañana.
Infórmese sobre un seguro médico de bajo costo o sin costo con Anthem Blue Cross. Así usted y su familia pueden sana.
You've earned this, so hold it up high. It doesn't just have great bones. It was the backbone of your community. So you breathe in new life, grinding away to make space for tomorrow, for your people. This isn't just a restoration. It's a revival. Because you're always willing to double down on your neighborhood. You are a fighter, and this is your reward. Modelo, the mark of a fighter.
We welcome you back to Oakland, where tonight's match is presented by Anthem Blue Cross. At halftime, 1-0 in favor of Colorado Springs Switchbacks. It was a fast start, Eric, and there is a question over whether this actually is an own goal or a proper goal.
It was a fast start, but we kind of lacked some of that high-octane energy that we thought we were going to get throughout. Turnovers that they saw towards the end of the 45 don't generate anything for Oakland in those moments, but again, credit to Oakland Roots. They've battled themselves into that first half Now they've got to see some of that momentum sustained to start the second half. Last week against Orange County, had to battle back to equalize after conceding early, but then went ahead and conceded early in the second half and had to chase that game again. So this first 5-10 minutes of this second half is going to be very fascinating with how both these teams approach it.
To your point, Oakland went a lot more vertically around the midway point of the first half. That's when they started to create some of those chances. That's when you saw them start to gain more of a foothold. And now they've made a change at halftime. Florian Velo, who is known for his prowess on the ball, his ability to unlock defenses, he replaces Tyler Gibson, who's more of a connector at midfield. So you're starting to see perhaps a more direct-minded, attack-minded approach from Ryan Martin as he looks to open the game up.
And I thought Velo had a terrific performance last week against Orange County. He was very effective, influential, unbalanced Orange County in a lot of different moments, but again, Orange County coming away with the 3 points. But for Oakland Roots, it's about capturing the momentum that you just had towards the end of that first half and taking that and putting together a collective and thorough second half. But you gotta find the breakthrough first.
Back underway here from Oakland. Colorado Springs now from left to right. Oakland from right to left. As Eric has mentioned, this a big inflection point. These next 15 minutes, can Oakland open it up? Can the directness pay dividends? Or will Colorado Springs hold on and drag this into the later stages? Sam Goldfarb, Eric Dobransky on hand. The big important stat we cited earlier was 12 of the 17 goals the Switchbacks have conceded this year have come in the second half. So protecting leads and staying in matches has been a bit of a bugaboo for them in the early stages. We'll see how they fare in this next window of the fixture.
And in no way do I want to say it gets easier when you have a lead, but it does change some of those louder moments that present themselves in the second half, because when you don't necessarily have to go out and find that goal, if you're at 0-0 or you're chasing the game, it does give you a moment where if Oakland does present a challenge going forward, find a way to blow up the play, whether it's a tackle, whether it's a screening of a pass, whether it's some sort of intervention that minimizes a threat. It has to be actualized, and that's, for the Switchbacks, going to be something extremely important to recognize as this second half progresses.
Throughout the entirety of this year as well, Oakland in league play has been blanked just once. Came in late March against Orange County on this very ground in the infamous red card game. So we'll see how they fare here, but this is a side that has a knack for putting the ball in the back of the net, especially on home soil. With Colorado opening things on the front foot as McGee knocks this towards Burner, and now it's turned over. Hanya. Burner again in plenty of space. Floats it toward the back posts. Beyond the reach of Mazureka. It's chances like that where a touch of clinical finishing maybe finishes the match off.
And besides that touch early in the first half, Mazureka has not been heavily involved. So a player for Alan McCann on this side that they would love to see more influence and him on the ball, going at defenders. He had that clever touch that took him into space, just wasn't able to test Kendall McIntosh. And for Oakland Roots, when you talked about the entrance of Florian Velo, can he then also help increase the touches from Peter Wilson, who only saw 5 touches in that first 45, already back on the ball here early.
Asking you shall receive. Here's Wilson coming a little deeper to claim now. Scored in his last 4 league matches. It was all kick-started by the hat trick against Las Vegas Lights in mid-April. Since then, he's been in scorching hot form. And talking to Ryan Martin, he said despite the first 6 matches when he struggled to get off the mark, there was always confidence in him. The XG was there. All of the underlying numbers were there. It was just about taking the chances. And now the only difference is he's just more confident in front of goal than he was 2 months ago. So if they can get Peter Wilson in any semblance of space in the box, it would be a recipe for success given the form he's in at the moment. Keegan Tiggy may try and cue up a long throw here for the Roots. Instead, they go short to Velo. De Vicente marks it towards Prentice. Puts it back across. Now in front of goal, and Wilson hits the post. It was always a tough ask to put it on frame from that range, but he nearly did.
But this is what we've seen from the evolution of Peter Wilson and his composure in front of goal. It's just the variety in which that he can finish. He can finish from different angles, tough angles. He can finish from different layers and foundations within the 18-yard box. And already, we mentioned the touches in the first half. We've already seen an uptick in involvement. You've gotta like that if you're Ryan Martin. This Oakland Roots side.
Peter Wilson last season became the first Roots player to win the USL Championship's Golden Boot. 18 goals, 19 across all comps. That tied the club record for single-season goals. Starting to find his footing now in front of frame. You see Oakland starting to nudge themselves back into this, pretty much even across the board statistically. Keep in mind, no shots on goal for Colorado Springs as things stand, because the opener credited as an own goal. This is Batash. He's dispossessed by McGee. Given away immediately. Velo. Prentice sticks with it. Not the finest of crosses by any means.
Those efforts from the Oakland Roots, you want something from it, and that service just gets away from Wolfgang Prentice. You're enjoying the first 6 minutes of what your team is presenting if you're Ryan Martin. And that goes back to what we saw in the first half, the verticality, some of the direct play that becomes an influence here in the second half. And then you add in the context of getting Peter Wilson on the ball, whether he is marked up. I mean, it's different whether it's getting, with the pass is getting screened, but if he's got a defender on him, just plug that ball in and work off of what his touch makes available. And you've seen that already.
This is a much more assertive start to the second half than we saw to the first from Oakland. They took probably 20 minutes to stumble out of the blocks before they finally established themselves. We're starting to see more incision, more direction, and more clean play in the build from the Roots.
I would also say what we have not seen from the Switchbacks is the disruptive behaviors that they exuded early on, and what we're pretty familiar with seeing, that pressing style, the ability to climb the field, squeeze the spaces. You've not seen that inconsistency, but that also goes back to what the Oakland Roots are doing on the ball, and their ability to then find a variety of ways to get into spaces, occupy those areas.
And it's just a goal kick despite the appeals of Bertrand Jacquesson. It does feel like the press has lost its steam from Colorado Springs, but to your point, that may be intentional as well with how clean Oakland's been on the ball. They were very loose to begin the game, and that just has not been the case the last 25 minutes or so, dating back to that first half.
Absolutely, and what we've seen from both these teams is defensive posture, their ability to be collective in what they're doing off the ball and not hurt themselves in some moments. Don't have any self-inflicted moments where you're creating and generating a scoring opportunity for your opponent. Two teams that are towards the top of the USL Championship in goals conceded. 15 for the Oakland Roots, now 16 tonight with the goal against.
There's Matusala. He would have been hoping to be called up to Haiti's World Cup squad. His teammate Duke Lacroix was, so he's not available tonight. A major monumental milestone for Lacroix's career with Haiti. Bennett. McGee. Talking Alan McCann. He joked that he hopes he's ready for Vinny Jr. and all of the talented wingers that Brazil brings to the fold. Bennett wins a corner for Colorado Springs.
Yeah, just so excited for Duke Lacroix and the opportunity that he's going to get this summer, but the opportunity that he's awarded himself with the work that he's done throughout his career, and a moment that he will embrace and take advantage of. And Oakland Roots are going to have to take care of this defensive corner.
It's Williams within swing to the near post, just evades Bennett. Lowe can't play out of trouble, but he does win the set piece. And it is a set piece. Fans, enter the Prince Tires USL Cup Game Day Kit sweepstakes for your chance to win a prize pack worth up to $2,000. Scan the QR code on screen and enter today. 10 minutes into the second half, Sam Goldfarb, Eric Dobransky on hand. At the moment, a 1-0 cushion for Colorado Springs Switchbacks. A Michael Edwards 5th-minute own goal is what currently separates the two sides. But Oakland, much more intentional since the restart, and you're starting to see some of their key difference makers announce themselves in this match. Peter Wilson moments ago, nodding one off of the far post. At the closest Oakland has come to leveling the scoreline.
Already 10 minutes in, the Oakland Roots have 6 total touches in the opposition box. They already have 3 of them so far in the second half, so they've already doubled the touches in the opposition box here early on from what they did through a whole 45 minutes.
It's a Roots team that is still in the first year under Ryan Martin. Of course, last season, a disappointment by their standards. Just 32 points, finished 10th in the West outside the playoff hunt after back-to-back Western Conference semifinal berths to begin their USL Championship tenure back in the day. There's Prentice behind Wilson that time. Too many of those services have just been off the mark from Oakland, and that's held them back.
The Switchbacks are going to look at that and feel like they were let off the hook, and they do need to make sure they can find that sharpness and that crispness in their passing. What you don't want to do is have a turnover in the build. Make sure you have the option, you execute at a high level.
Wilson getting involved deeper. It's been a trend in the second half. McCabe switches the play in fantastic fashion to De Vicente. Batash. Below. Well, free-flowing rotations for the front line. You see Wilson coming deep, Batash coming deep. Both of them in the first half, it felt like they were on an island, especially Wilson. You see them becoming key presences in the build.
Well, we heard both coaches talk about controlling the match and controlling some of the situations that present themselves, and that's what we've seen from the Roots. Good ball here.
Jacuzzi. Low cross, took a deflection, but it was cleared by Maples. Anytime you have Talon Maples, Garvin Matusla, and Matt Mahoney all on your roster, and you have to bench one of them each week, that has to be a headache for Alan McCann. Ryan Martin himself saying Talon Maples would start regularly for any other team in the league. It is remarkable the level of talent that the Switchback squad has at its disposal. It's just about putting it all together. A result like this would go a long way to doing that.
And for both these teams navigating the availability and the health of their squads, and there's a Switchback side that is just starting to see themselves get healthy, find that consistent availability. Speedy Williams is now available on the bench. Do we see him tonight
This is given away rather cheaply. The back heel to McGee was slightly audacious. Vicente. McCabe. Prentice. Forward ball to Batosh. Can't take it in. It is the final ball at the moment that is lacking for both clubs. Wilson. Looked at the heels. And the referee will return to that challenge.
I know it's far too early for the Switchbacks, but we have seen an uptick in the aggressiveness in the press from them, as we do see the coming together here in the foul earned. This is Peter Wilson taking that left cleat to the knee area, so it's down, earns the free kick for the Roots.
Currently, this is concerning. Peter Wilson, their go-to goal-scoring threat the last 2 years since joining from Norwegian football last winter. It was a heavy challenge, and Williams definitely left a mark on him.
It was awkward timing as well. That left foot was getting planted from Peter Williams as the contact was made. Just hope that it's something that can come back and continue, as you see his left foot get planted right there, and then contact.
That's a painful one. Ryan Martin's hoping he doesn't have another decision on his hands here, as Wilson would anchor his front line to at least the opening 75 if given the choice. Last season, flat out tremendous. And now returning to his feet, which is a welcome sight for all involved.
Yeah, just hoping for the best right now, because the contact itself, the play itself did not look good, but then when you see a player continue to kind of put their jersey over their face and cover the grimace, you just hope that it's something that he could possibly shake off. You can see the discomfort.
Well, fans, this injury timeout is brought to you by Anthem Blue Cross. Anthem is transforming healthcare by improving the health of our local communities. Set piece here for Oakland Roots. De Vicente floats it goalward and all the way to the back post, but behind Hackshaw. It does go out for a corner, though.
Concession sales. Please know alcohol sales will end in the 75th minute. Concessions close in the 80th
Referee is actually blown the whistle against Nabil Hackshaw. So after all that, no set piece. And there's another player down, this time for Colorado Springs.
Here's that delivery that travels through the defensive line. Looks like it gets that touch from Sam Williams, but the call is on Hackshaw. As we see Aiden Rocha down.
Third straight season with the Switchbacks since joining from Loudoun, where he played under Ryan Martin's tutelage. And now you look at those numbers. Oakland with an advantage possessionally and no shots on target for either side still. So we promised you goals, and we've gotten a cagey affair.
Yeah, and for both these teams, when you come into a match knowing that you have to bottle up the energy and the aggressiveness from your opponent going forward, these are two of the highest scoring teams in the USL Championship. And then you get on the side that these are two teams that are seeking to be better with earning clean sheets.
It's a well-weighted ball from McGee. Soreka onto it. Back to the edge of the area. It's a decent hit. Quality save from McIntosh. And there's your first shot on target of the game for either side.
You just knew the defensive side was going to be a point of emphasis for both teams, and Give and go.
Krieg driving forward now. McGee marked Oakland briefly with that switch of the play moments ago. Masareka darting inside. Rocha. He logged that effort moments ago. McGee out wide to Bennett. Controls it nicely. Now Burner cuts inside. Deflected off Hackshaw, and a corner on the way.
And kind of finished the point I was making a few moments ago in terms of the uptick in pressure that we've seen from the Switchbacks. Did they approach that first 5, 10, 15 minutes of this half and say, hey, we want to sit back, we want to absorb some of the moments as we see changes coming from the Oakland Roots? Now you look at this middle 15 minutes and you can open it up, you can go at, and then you attack the last 15 a bit differently if you're still with that fine margin of 1-0.
Three changes, 2 for Oakland, and 1 for Colorado Springs. It's the introduction of Tucker Lepley, who is into the action for Bertrand Jacquesson. Meanwhile, Danny Trejo is in for Faisal Batash. And if you know anything about Danny Trejo, you know he can be a goal-scoring machine, despite the slow start. McGee curls it goalward, just over the bar. Meanwhile, for Colorado Springs, there was also a change. Frank DeRoma into the action as well. DeRoma is getting ready to replace Tyreek McGee at the next possible opportunity. So the double change happened for Oakland. Still waiting on Colorado Springs to make the alteration, which now takes place. Strong 65 minutes from Tyreek McGee. Asked questions of the back line, and now it is the all-action Frank DeRoma who replaces him. Last season with El Paso as a mainstay in the midfield. This year, more in and out of the lineup for Colorado Springs. Year 6 as a professional. Now appearance number 102 in USL Championship. Here's Trejo's first touch. He's best known for that Phoenix season 3 years ago. Played a critical role in their run to the club's first ever USL Championship title. Had a brief stint in MLS before returning to the fold a couple years back, and this season, unfortunately, hasn't quite found his goal-scoring boots. Wilson lashed out of danger, and Bennett giving chase, and he's in behind as well. Has support. Masareka. Rocha. Switchbacks will settle on it. Ticking towards the final 20 minutes. Still hangs by a knife edge. Yosuke Hanya down after the challenge from below.
This is going to be the areas in which the Switchbacks want to make sure that they do not endanger themselves, making sure you're putting your body between the ball and the defender, earning a free kick, and allowing any momentum to escape.
Burner, and a corner coming.
Roots fans skip the line.
Fan Soccer Season's here, and SeatGeek is the official ticketing partner of the USL. Get all your USL tickets and more from the #1 ticketing site, SeatGeek, your ticket to great seats. Not a bad seat in the house here in Oakland Coliseum, a venue that in its heyday could seat around 49,000 for the Oakland A's and the Oakland Raiders. Now seats around 15,000 for the Oakland Roots. They did crack the 24,000 threshold last year as well. As Williams outswinger comes in. Headed away after a touch from Naples. Now Masareka, who's made a nuisance of himself. Gets on the end of it. Back for DeRoma. Over. No real trouble for McIntosh.
And good closeout defensively from the Oakland Roots right there, because Frank DeRoma has proven in his career to be a threat from that space. When you get the closeout and the appropriate pressure, you force him to sail this over the crossbar as we see Hackshaw down.
Took the shin guards off as well, it seemed. And Garvin Matusala is also prone on the pitch.
Looks like a lot of this comes from the traffic that is gathered in the 6-yard box. You see Hackshaw and Matusala have been coming together there as they exit the 6-yard box right here. As though they see anything, it just looks like comes up gingerly after planting that right foot.
30-year-old Hackshaw, his 11th consecutive season in USL Championship, Eric. He's been a fixture wherever he's been. Gingerly walking off the pitch. There's a change being prepared as well for Oakland. And it is Julian Bravo, who returns from an injury absence to replace Hackshaw.
On the field right now, number 23, Charlie
comes to a premature conclusion, but Bravo re-enters to a loud applause. Pleasant welcome back to the 25-year-old who has missed the last 6 matches across all comps with injury. It's a like-for-like change in the heart of defense.
Goes back to that overarching conversation we were having about as we start to progress to that middle portion of the season, the consistency that we're able to see from these two teams and in their depth and their ability to make changes, as we do see now Matt Mahoney coming on for the Switchbacks.
He replaces Matusala, so neither center back involved in that interchange is able to continue. That's where the depth pays dividends, especially for Colorado Springs, because Matt Mahoney's their captain, has been that way for years, and has anchored this back line through his 6 seasons in Colorado Springs. Entering this season, him being on the bench for anyone would be unfathomable. Now there's a Colorado Springs player down. That continues for now. Edwards. McCabe. Velo. Inside the final 20. Still a narrow cushion for Colorado Springs, courtesy of the 5th-minute own goal. DeRoma. Hanya is back to his feet now. This is Bennett. Took multiple defenders out of the equation before it was ushered back to McIntosh. Low looking direct.
And maybe not the energy and the tempo that we expected to see from both these teams with the goal output that we've seen thus far from both these sides, but the ambition is there, the ability to problem solve.
And there's unquestionably quality on the pitch for both sides. So even in a game that's been cagier than expected, there are players to unlock the opposing defenses. Prentice is one of those. He stood up by Williams. Fans, Oakland Roots are back at the Oakland Coliseum on Saturday, June 13th at 7 p.m. versus Miami FC for Hella Juneteenth night. Single game tickets are still available. Visit oaklandrootssc.com/tickets or call 510-488-1144 and lock in your tickets today.
And both these teams taking a step out of the USL Championship regular season next weekend as everybody sees the Prince Tires USL Cup continue. Colorado Springs Switchbacks are 2-0 in the USL Cup. Oakland Roots 0-1-1.
I think the strong performance of Colorado Springs in that competition shows that the quality that they have far exceeds how they've performed to open the league season. They obliterated New Mexico on May 16th in their last cup match by a 4-0 scoreline, and teams don't necessarily batter New Mexico historically by that scoreline. Giving chase to this. Knocked away by Rocha.
As we enter that final 15 for the Switchbacks, do you now sit tight, absorb some of these moments, make sure that you're structurally sound, you don't get pulled into any spaces that you don't need to be, protect the space in front of goal, good outlet.
Hello. Final 15 minutes now. It's all become a tense one. Colorado Springs desperately looking to protect what it has. And Eric, we've talked about this stat already. Final 15 minutes now. They've conceded 7 of the goals they've allowed this year. 7 of the 17 in the final 15 minutes. This is where they need to buck that trend and find a way to get this over the line. He is usually back to his feet. He's been run ragged today. Below looking to ask questions. Drives it in. Ricochets off Wilson and out for a goal kick.
You get the delivery here from below. First contact, puts it right up in the air, and you see Colin Shuttler, who has not had to make a lot of interventions tonight, gets a palm on it, deflecting it off Peter Wilson. The Switchbacks wanted a foul on Peter Wilson, on Colin Shuttler there.
Shuttler is slow to return to his feet as well. And he seems just mildly shaken up. Fans can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access on Tuesday nights. Plus your live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more, all on Sirius XM FC 157 and the Sirius XM app. Burner strolling forward for the Switchbacks. This is a clever run to the byline. It falls kindly. There's a free run at it briefly, and just clattered off the defenders. That is the danger Masareka can cause, and Burner was nearly the beneficiary of it. And now it's sloppily given away to Hanya. Creek. Hanya wins the free kick, cleverly at that. No chance to take the sting out of the game now.
These are going to be the moments where the Switchbacks are going to want to prove that they've learned from past games. See this game out. They've been both on the end of scoring late goals, but also on the receiving end of conceding late goals. Have that 1-0 advantage. You want to be tidy in all transition moments.
Creek. Hanya's cross, headed on by Bennett. Skews wide. cleverly organized routine. And changes now coming for Colorado Springs. And it is the return of Speedy Williams. It's the opening 2.5 months of the season with preseason surgery. He is finally back. Colorado Springs is 4-time USL Championship winner, and Juan Tejada also enters as well. So Tejada for Hanya. In addition to that, the introduction of Williams for Creek. They know what Speedy Williams can bring. They intended him to play a massive role in the midfield this season. Now he's finally back. You know, one further change, Saddam Masareka exits after asking questions of the Oakland backline moments ago. So he exits. There's a third player into the mix now for the Switchbacks. Burner.
We've highlighted some of the depth and some of the accountability that can exist in this Switchbacks team, and you see it with the 3 changes. Perez coming on, Speedy Williams, and then Juan Tejada, who's no stranger to high-quality performances.
MVP of the 2024 USL Championship final. Scored the opener, and it came early in that fixture. His strength in numbers for Colorado Springs. Adrian Perez, meanwhile, very crafty player, 30 years of age, who came over after 2 seasons with Lou City. And anyone with Lou City on their CV is usually a pretty impactful presence. And here's Perez, who will take this corner for the Switchbacks. Toward the back stick, evades everyone in black kits, and rolls out for yet another corner.
And you have to imagine the conversation that guided that line of substitutions is managing and controlling the remaining time of this match. I know that there's going to be a lot of intrigue to go ahead and score that second goal. If it does present itself, take your chance, but also make sure that you are extremely detailed in how you finish up this game.
Now Williams, another in-swinger, is punched away by McIntosh. Can Oakland play out? The Low certainly hope so. DeRoma dispossesses him immediately.
Right there, that's the ground coverage that Frank DeRoma presents. And why not see a spell of possession here from the Switchbacks?
Can't hurt to take the sting out of things. Perhaps venture into a threatening spot. They have fresh legs like Tejada that can threaten the opposing center backs and fullbacks. It certainly is an enticing prospect. Here's Speedy Williams' first touch. Just good to see him back out there. He has been synonymous with this league for so long. He spent last season away at Lexington after 2 really strong campaigns with the Switchbacks, and was a fixture in the midfield that fueled Colorado Springs to that 2024 title. There's Burner. Really done. Up to Roma. Speedy Williams. Side to side now. Rocha didn't hit it cleanly enough. Finally comes loose for Prentice. What can he conjure the other way? McCabe. Fans, Oakland Roots are back at the Oakland Coliseum on Saturday, June 13th at 7 p.m. versus Miami FC for Hella Juneteenth night. Single game tickets are still available. Visit oaklandrootssc.com/tickets or call 510-488-1144 and lock in your tickets today. Ticking towards the final 5 minutes, Eric. If you're Oakland, how do you find a way to poke holes in this Switchbacks back line?
You've got to commit the numbers, and you've got to commit to the movement. Be decisive with what you're trying to do and how you're trying to get there. Because right now, only the 3 shots, 0 on target. And this is kind of where they've lived in some of these bigger moments. They haven't been able to generate even a half chance, but they've put good numbers in.
McCabe, it falls for Wolfgang Prentice, looking to carve out space, and the chance is lost. Burner recovers in the nick of time. Here's Prentice again.
I know you're eager to get back on the ball, but no reason to foul there. You had them getting out of your area, you had them facing their goal, and now they're right back on the ball.
Velo rounds the corner, plays it across, headed away. Colorado Springs weather the storm once more. This is Oakland's best moment to date.
And this is what we saw a lot of in the first half from the Switchbacks defensively, controlling some of these second and third actions. What an intervention there, and you can see what it meant to Maples to make that play and then putting himself in position to win that header, earn the foul, and earn the moment to take valuable time off the clock.
Interestingly enough, in this series, Colorado Springs has won the last 6 matches against Oakland Roots. That dates back to June 2nd of 2023. If this holds, it would be a 7th consecutive victory. That would move the Switchbacks to 8-1-1 all time against Oakland Roots. Part of that is Oakland's been through their ups and downs. They missed the playoffs 2 of the last 3 years, but it is still a remarkable record given the parity of this league across the board and how personnel changes year to year. Tejada plays out of trouble there. Perez upended. Fancy Football is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. Download now. Game management time now.
Welcome to the substitution in the 87th
Oakland now making a change. It is the end of Michael Edwards' day, and Jackson Keel, the forward, replaces him. So caution to the wind now from Ryan Martin. Keel was an experienced goal scorer during his time in college at Stanford, has scored in the Prince Tires USL Cup as well, but has yet to open his account in USL Championship play. Oh, how Oakland could use that now.
And right now, Oakland is just looking for quality, not quantity. They just need one good look. As you can see, the 3 shots, but 0 on target. Minimal involvement from Colin Shuttler tonight, and that's going to be something that Alan McCann and his side are going to be really pleased with thus far.
And only 1 on frame from the Switchbacks, and that wasn't the goal. The goal was an own goal from Michael Edwards, who just departed. Here's Prentice. Below. Trejo. You see Colorado Springs breaking up the actions forward like they did to start the first.
These are going to be some of the frustrating moments for the Oakland Roots because you see valuable seconds come off, and on top of that, it becomes a deep restart.
Colorado Springs can burn more precious seconds off the clock and threaten the Oakland goal in one fell swoop. It's Perez over it. Delivered short. Speedy Williams. Clever ball to Perez. Williams again. Plays it toward DeRoma. And out to Wilson. Does Oakland have an escape valve for pressure moments like these? Fans, the USL Championship and League One are on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN+. Go to USLChampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings. And finally, Oakland's first corner kick of the match. And it gives us a chance to let you know that this corner kick is powered by Ava Community Energy. The first corner for Oakland all night.
And wouldn't they love if it pays dividends? Got to see the quality runs, got to see some blockers, generate some space, as you already see a lot of the traffic in and around Colin Shuttler.
This is one of their final chances. It's an in-swinging ball. Shuttler gets a pair of gloves to it, and we'll run it right back. You get one corner, and they all come in waves, right?
Of course, that's it. And towards the end of the game, just to add to the frenetic finish.
It's De Vicente getting a second crack at it. The first one too tight on Shuttler. This one also tight on him. And up in the air. McCabe. And it is 6 minutes of stoppage time. So renewed life for Oakland as they desperately seek an equalizer. It'd be just their third league defeat of the season. A second straight league defeat for the first time. Long throw in. Shuttler watches it sail wide, and another corner.
The waves that you just mentioned, you get one, and then you get, all of a sudden you're on three.
Is there set-piece magic in Oakland's locker?
For your Oakland Roots, powered as always by Ava Community Energy, clean power, lower rates.
Outswing. Into the heart of the area and sprayed well over the bar. It's now time to present the fighter of the match, and it is Peter Wilson, presented by Modelo, a reward for those with a fighting spirit. Modelo, the mark of a fighter.
And all of that thankless running in the first half to start opening up some of the spaces in between the lines. Only had those 5 touches within the first 45, but we've seen his heavy involvement here in the second half, and a lot of that is what the Oakland Roots were able to do in that first 45, and then how they blended it into how they wanted to attack the Switchbacks here in the second half. But unfortunately, they just have not been able to find that final breakthrough. Still 0 shots on target.
Velo. Can Oakland change that before the night is over? That forced a single stop out of Colin Shuttler. It's a progressive ball. Velo looking for Keel. Naples is there. Just a goal kick.
And that's just not being on the same page, because you get the slipped ball between the 2 defenders. When you see the play develop, it might have been more beneficial to play him to feet, let him dictate the next action. You know the space is tight, but you want to make sure that you're upgrading when it's there to be upgraded, and time is against you right now, as we've already almost hit the midway point of the 6 minutes.
We cited that touches in the opposing box stat. 12 the entire game from Oakland, 23 from Colorado Springs. Neither side has exactly ventured into opposing territory that incisively tonight, but for Oakland, there's been rather little of that for a side that's bossed nearly 54% of the ball.
And that also goes to that question that we all tend to ask, especially when you have these high-octane attacking teams. Poor turnover.
Williams, it's Bennett across to Tejada! Hits the woodwork.
And this is going to only add to the stress that the Switchbacks are going to see for these final few minutes. Tejada tees this up. Just unable to get it on frame. So much power behind it, does not get the placement there in the end. And a goal there would have certainly put this game out of reach with what time remains.
Put a pin in that moment, because if Oakland can procure an equalizer, Switchbacks had a chance to kill it off seconds ago. It was Bennett's tenacious pressing and Tejada rippling the outside of the near post.
And going back and both these teams, how they attack is, do you have to concede something when you want to defend and keep clean sheets? You see teams score at such a high rate, but then also conceding goals. Do you have to bend in some of those areas where you tend to want to attack and be open, and you have to be more defensive-minded? Good step there.
Whistle sounds against Jackson Keel, to the chagrin of the Oakland faithful. You have to wonder how many more opportunities, if any, Oakland will get before the whistle sounds. We are now into the final minute of the added 6. Is one back, a chance to break, played towards Trejo. DeRoma heads along to Perez with room to roam as well. Tejada with him, he slipped in one, Tejada. Perez can't quite wrap it up, but he did burn valuable time off the clock.
What a tackle there from Perez, able to track back, get into that action and make sure that he only limits Oakland to a throw-in. But you know you're going to see the urgency now from the Roots.
This is their last gasp. And the full-time whistle sounds. It's an underwhelming attacking display from Oakland Roots. They suffered just their 3rd league defeat of the season. Colorado Springs, meanwhile, snaps out of the prolonged winless rut. The Switchbacks climb into the top 8 of the Western Conference table.
And for Alan McCann and his group, thorough through this 90 minutes. They navigated the ebbs and flows that they knew naturally were going to present themselves on the road, earn their first 3 points of the season on the road, which is so valuable, but also get their first clean sheet of the season. So for them, terrific from those phases of play, and for Ryan Martin, just unable to generate and sustain anything going forward, limited in chance creation, and then no shots on target.
Massive improvement from Alan McCann's men, who see this over the line. A 1-0 victory, courtesy of the early own goal, as Corey Bennett was right involved in the thicket of things. We'll step aside when we return to look back at the 90 minutes.
Our need to connect is at the heart of being human. The places and people who make us feel valued, body, mind, and spirit. At Anthem Blue Cross, we know life touches each of us differently, with things we expect and things we don't. We're showing up in ways not expected, helping all of us feel connected to a community of care.
A lot of people don't know this about UCSF, but we have more female sports doctors than anywhere else in the country.
Our Women's Sports Medicine Center is the first clinic in the Bay Area to focus on female patients. We would reconstruct the ACL. Our bodies are different. Our injuries are different.
We are constantly staying up to date on the latest science. And we're all athletes ourselves, so we understand what their goals are.
We love to help athletes get back to doing what they love.
UCSF Health.
We welcome you back to Oakland Coliseum, where at full time, Colorado Springs Switchbacks sees a crucial 3 points over the line. They climb into the playoff places courtesy of their early own goal, which made all the difference, Eric.
And then from there, they were committed and aggressive and disciplined defensively in regards to making sure that they were in the right spaces to win those second and third actions. And this is that opening goal, that ball in from Yosuke Hanya, that drive, and then that clever touch from Corey Bennett off that right boot. And it goes down as an own goal, but I am still looking for the clear deflection off of Edwards. I still think that is difficult to pin on him. But then we saw Oakland Roots grow into this game. It didn't necessarily equate to a shot on target, but this being one of the better opportunities they generated. Peter Wilson getting his head on it off the post. And then the Switchbacks did a good job of absorbing a lot of the early pressure in the second half and then asking some questions of their own in the final third. And then this being a moment where you almost double the lead. Poor turnover. Corey Bennett finds Tejada, and then he just rattles it off the side of the goal, unable to tack on. And they had to see this game out, but they did.
And when you look at how that impacts the Western Conference standings, Oakland does remain in the top 3, but Tulsa, multiple matches in hand. Meanwhile, the Switchbacks into the top 8. They are in there on goal difference tiebreaker. It is a key 3 points for a side that had won just 2 of its opening 9 league matches, and now right into the thick of the playoff chase. And that is where we will leave things from the Pacific Coast. For our terrific crew and my broadcast partner, Eric Dobransky, I'm Sam Goldfarb. It finishes 1-0 to the Switchbacks. The early own goal is what winds up separating the two sides at full time. First time Oakland has suffered back-to-back league defeats this year. For our terrific crew, we say so long. Have a great rest of your night, everyone.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.
Creek sprays it wide to Hanya. Has options going forward as well. To cross into Bennett, and he picks out the back of the net. Well, that one's out of open play, and it's 1-0 to the Switchbacks.
And I know that we are only 5 minutes in, but we have seen hints of this from the Switchbacks, their ability to connect some of these intermediate passes, 1, 2, 3 passes that get Oakland compact, get them in close proximity, and then they spray this ball out wide. And Yosuke Hanya's ability to drive 1v1, identify where his teammate is, and what a clever finish.
Spectacular from court. Tusala. Creek sprays it wide to Hanya. Has options going forward as well. To cross into Bennett, and he picks out the back of the net. Well, that one's out of open play, and it's 1-0 to the Switchbacks.
And I know that we are only 5 minutes in, but
Tusala. Creek Sprays it wide to Hanya. Has options going forward as well. It's a cross into Bennett, and he picks out the back of the net. Well, that one's out of open play, and it's 1-0 to the Switchbacks.
And I know that we are only 5 minutes in, but we have seen hints of this from the Switchbacks, their ability to connect some of these intermediate passes, 1, 2, 3 passes that
Tusala. Creek. Sprays it wide to Hanya. Has options going forward as well. It's a cross into Bennett, and he picks out the back of the net. Well, that one's out of open play, and it's 1-0 to the Switchbacks. Tusala. Creek. Sprays it wide to Hanya. Has options going forward as well. It's a cross into Bennett, and he picks out the back of the net. Well, that one's out of open play, and it's 1-0 to the Switchbacks.
And I know that we are only 5 minutes in, but we have seen hints of this from the Switchbacks, their ability to connect some of these intermediate passes, 1, 2, 3 passes that get Oakland compact, get them in close proximity, and then they spray this ball out wide. And Yosuke Hanya's ability to drive 1v1, identify where his teammate is, and what a clever finish.
Spectacular from court. Tusala. Creek. Sprays it wide to Hanya. Has options going forward as well. It's a cross into Bennett, and he picks out the back of the net. Well, that one's out of open play, and it's 1-0 to the Switchbacks.
And I know that we are only 5 minutes in, but
Tusala. Creek. Sprays it wide to Hanya. Has options going forward as well. It's a cross into Bennett, and he picks out the back of the net. Well, that one's out of open play, and it's 1-0 to the Switchbacks.
And I know that we are only 5 minutes in, but we have seen hints of this from the Switchbacks, their ability to connect some of these intermediate passes, 1, 2, 3 passes that get Oakland compact, get them in close.
We welcome you to the Bay Area tonight, where we bring you a key tussle on the Pacific Coast between a pair of sides. Vicente marks it towards Prentice, puts it back across. Now in front of goal, and Wilson hits the post. It was always a tough ask to put it on frame from that. Vicente marks it towards Prentice, puts it back across. Now in front of goal, and Wilson hits the post. It was always a tough ask to put it on frame from that. Vicente marks it towards Prentice, puts it back across. Now in front of goal, and Wilson hits the post. It was always a tough ask to put it on frame from Vicente marks it towards Prentice, puts it back across. Now in front of goal, and Wilson hits the post. It was always a tough ask to put it on frame from that.
Better with earning clean sheets.
It's a well-weighted ball from McGee. Soreka onto it. To the edge of the area. It's a decent hit. Only save from McIntosh.
Better with earning clean sheets.
It's a well-weighted ball from McGee. Soreka onto it. To the edge of the area. It's a decent hit. Only save from McIntosh.
Better with earning clean sheets.
It's a well-weighted ball from McGee. Soreka onto it. To the edge of the area. It's a decent hit. Only save from McIntosh.
Better with earning clean sheets.
It's a well-weighted ball from McGee. Soreka onto it. To the edge of the area. It's a decent hit. Only save from McIntosh.
To ask, especially when you have these high-octane attacking teams. Full turnover.
Williams, it's Bennett across to Tejada. Hits the woodwork.
This is going to only add to the stress and to ask, especially when you have these high-octane attacking teams. Full turnover.
Williams, it's Bennett across to Tejada. Hits the woodwork.
This is going to only add to the stress and to ask, especially when you have these high-octane attacking teams. Full turnover.
Williams, it's Bennett across to Tejada. Hits the woodwork.
This is going to only add to the stress and to ask, especially when you have these high-octane attacking teams. Full turnover.
Williams, it's Bennett across to Tejada. Hits the woodwork.
This is going to only add to the stress. Thorough through this 90 minutes. They navigated the ebbs and flows that they knew naturally were going to present themselves on the road, earn their first 3.
Our need to connect is at the heart of being human. The places and people who make us feel valued. Body, mind, and life touches each of us differently. With things we expect and things we don't.